Good afternoon. Welcome back to Marty's Tying Bench. This afternoon I'm putting together this week's Vice Squad kits, the 6-packs, and the fly I've chosen is a shop vac, a generic little size 16 pattern that makes for a good dropper. If asked what it's meant to represent, you just say anything in a size 16. So here's my size 16 scud hook. Got a 3/32 gold bead, black thread. It doesn't really matter what black thread, and this looks like it'd be a good vehicle for substitutions. I could see a fluorescent orange or chartreuse thread to turn this into a hot spot, since there's a pretty good thread collar at the front. Now I got 6 or 8 pheasant tail fibers, and since I don't have a tail on this thing, I can work it down the bend a little bit and make use of the curvature of the hook and still leave room to tie on a dropper. No tail to interfere. Now I got copper wire. It's a size small. Even though this is a pretty simple pattern, there's a couple of techniques here that you'll find useful. One is when you're wrapping bundles of fibers like this, it's kind of hard to go hand to hand, so I just touch it to the hook till I can get a grip for the next wrap. And bring it forward. Now I'm going to tie this off on the side for a reason, and that is I need some bulk to keep this bead from sliding back over the hook, and I'm going to have a wing tied in right behind the bead, and that's going to occupy the very top spot. So to avoid having a big bulb right there, I'll make sure I tie the other material off on the side. Now with the copper wire, we're going to make counter ribs. Counter ribs give you a couple of features. One is each one of the pheasant tail fibers will have some wire wrapping across it, which will make it definitely more durable, and it will keep the wire from sinking in between the fibers, and by standing up on the top it'll be just a little more visible. Now for the wing, I've just got a white poly yarn. You can use any kind, McFlylon, just a standard Wapsi poly yarn. I'm going to make sure that's on the top of the hook. Now this bead is still loose, so I'm going to nudge it, and you can see that when it's centered it will stand that yarn up. Now I can make a bunch of turns right behind the bead to kind of fill in the gap. And when the thread starts showing up on your wing, you'll know your bead is centered and it's not going to slide back over the hook, and you're just about done. Let finish. And then trim the wing anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of the length of the body. Head cement's recommended. There you go, 4 minutes, and you got a shop vac.